Jackal, we're live from Mexico. Day 2, I lost my laptop for the last 12 days. I've been trying to find it. I got it back. We're ready. You call that radio, is now you call that Mexico. And today, we're starting with, is Spotify wrapped a con? Is Spotify as a platform an entire giant con? Should I reveal today how many plays and how much money my bands have made in the last year?
You call that Mexico, Mexico, Mexico. They talk that Spanish flow, Spanish flow.
Spoiler alert. In my opinion, Spotify Wrapped is a con, and the platform itself is extremely dangerous to independent music as a whole. The reasons why I think this are complicated, and they might surprise you. And if you're an artist whose numbers and stats on Spotify this year have left you feeling disappointed or even a little bit worthless, then stay tuned. I've got a secret for you to know about. The main issue I have with Spotify is that it's actually quite a good app.
What have I become?
I say this grudgingly. It breaks my heart to say this, but having 99% of all recorded music in your back pocket is actually quite a good deal for a tenner a month. It's convenient. The algorithm knows you better than you know yourself. It suggests you new music that you like. It suggests old classics that you'd forgotten about. It's somehow Spotify has got inside your head and inside your heart and knows you better than yourself. I just want to make a wee disclaimer. I boycotted Spotify for many years, both as a musician and as a user of the app, because at that time Bandcamp was the place to be. I know Bandcamp have been bought over recently, so we'll be keeping an eye on that as well. But Bandcamp, there was a golden age where people were illegally downloading Eminem albums, but they would support DIY independent artists like my band, Gyro Babies, which is a kind of post-punk rock band. Jackal Trades is kind of like a weird hip-hop, electro, spoken word poetry with weird beats type thing. And there's also another bunch of bands that I help with. Disclaimer, I boycotted Spotify for many years, both as a musician and as a user of the app, because I thought it ripped off artists, and I thought that the app was pure shite. Now, the app is still ripping off artists, but the app itself is destroying all its competition. For the demographic that I deal with anyway, in my age group, I know that the young people are bringing back SoundCloud, and a lot of them just watch TikTok instead of music, and I know the older people are still buying music through CD and vinyl and stuff like that. I know that. There's exceptions. But in general, my demographic loves Spotify. That's where the people are. But the first time I heard Spotify used it, it was the free app, and I couldn't believe it was that popular. It was riddled with adverts. I hate adverts. I hate adverts so much that we refuse to do adverts on You Call That Radio. You're not going to get any adverts during this video. There might have been an advert at the start that YouTube put in, but that I've put in, so there's no mid-rolls in the middle, and I won't start talking about investing in crypto or ball hair trimmers or anything like that. I don't like adverts, so there is no adverts. The original free version of Spotify was riddled with adverts, and you couldn't even select the song you wanted. You couldn't skip songs. I had no idea why it was getting so popular until once or twice I was in my friend's car, they were driving, and they let me pick the songs, and I was like, this is actually quite good. All my favourite artists are here. And, you know, people were requesting that like my music, were saying you should put it on Spotify, that's where everyone's doing it. And yeah, I think I got a free trial, or it was 99 pence for 3 months or something like that. And I gave it a shot, and then I realised how good the algorithm is. It's making suggestions of music that you like. This is a really good app, and that's what's the most annoying thing, because now people don't buy things off Bandcamp as much. They're not buying CDs as much. The lie that they perpetuated at the start was, well, they'll discover you on Spotify, and if they like you, they'll go and buy your music. Now they don't even perpetuate that lie anymore because everyone knows that as a whole, nobody's buying music anymore. They literally stopped illegal downloading, but they also stopped people buying music. In large, there's exceptions, of course. But when I got that free trial, I like discovering new music, and I don't care if it's a robot serving up to me, or it's an advert, or it's a radio plugger's paid for it, or someone's bribed a journalist to write a glowing review. I don't really care how I discover the new music. If it's good, I'm in. And this is where the numbers don't tell the true story. If someone has major backing, or if someone's just from a privileged middle class or upper middle class background, they have disposable income that they can spend on marketing. So while you might be seeing people sharing ridiculous numbers and you're like, why can't I compete? Why can I not get... These people are probably spending a lot of money on Instagram adverts, TikTok adverts, things like that. And you know what? I've made my peace with that. At first I wouldn't even click a Facebook advert or an Instagram advert for a while. But now actually I've relaxed my view on that because I've actually found a good few bands that way. I've never personally done it myself. I've never paid for an advert for any of my music. I've got a new single out next month. Maybe I should consider it. The thought makes me feel physically sick though, that I should pay a social media platform that benefits off me financially. I don't like it. It makes me feel sick. But if your numbers are not what you'd expect and you're comparing yourself, you're probably comparing yourself to someone who's actually implemented a marketing campaign of some sort, whether that's just some Facebook adverts or whatever. And then you've got the real liars and thieves, a click farm in India or Russian bots, and they're just fake plays. They don't exist. They're not real at all. That's actually damaging for the algorithm to have to do that. But there's people that are getting genuine clicks. You know, even if you're shite, even if your band's terrible, but you've paid enough money to get, you've actually got 200,000 people to genuinely click the button. Even if you're terrible, you're going to get at least 100 new fans. And that's if you're terrible. I know bands who have over 1 million plays on Spotify, yet they can't sell 30 tickets to a gig in their hometown. So what really is the point in that kind of marketing? What is the point in that? Other ways numbers don't tell the true story is that there's other platforms. Because I've always had my issues with Spotify for the way that they treat artists, I tend to usually start with Bandcamp and promote Bandcamp first, or maybe a YouTube music video or something like that. Kind of start with that, and then I put it on Spotify. Now that obviously destroys any buzz that I've got for Spotify. It means that I'm going to get little traction on the pre-saves because people have already heard the song in another platform. So even though your Spotify numbers aren't good, bear in mind that maybe people are enjoying you on other platforms. Maybe they have illegally downloaded your music. Maybe they have bought a CD off you already and they play it all the time at house parties and they tell people about how good your music is, or maybe you played a live gig that people rave about to this day and you've made a true connection with fans. While there's people with millions of views that they still haven't played a gig. What's actually true? What is it? Are we talking about artistry here? Or are we talking about numbers? Just don't let data define your self-worth. And don't become a travelling salesperson for Spotify. Because now they've got the cheek to not pay people who haven't hit 1,000 streams per song. It might not seem like a lot of money, but if that's a plectrum, that's your plectrum. That's not Spotify's plectrum to give to billionaires. It's your plectrum. The company isn't even profitable because they're giving away the entire history of recorded music for a tenner a month. It's not really good business, is it? Really? I mean, the founder, he's doing fine. Daniel E.K. I didn't even know he was Facebook, right? but he's on £3.3 billion. The execs are on about $300,000 per year. The major labels that signed off their artist back catalogue, best believe they're getting more than 0.004 pence per play. Whether or not they're ripping the piss out of their artists as well is another story that we don't really know much about. Maybe it doesn't matter. I mean, there's certain people in this world who really want fame. They demand fame. They have money to give them fame. It costs money to make money on Spotify. In order to hit 1,000 streams per song is very clever marketing, because now you've got young, local, up-and-coming businesses hustling harder for the Spotify brand. Please don't become a door-to-door salesman for the Spotify Corporation. That's what I did with MySpace. I didn't give MySpace any money, but I did put a lot of hours and days into getting more plays and reaching more fans. And then one day, MySpace was gone. And the same thing could happen to Spotify. If Amazon or Google really wanted to flash the cash, then the major labels have got absolutely no loyalty to Spotify. So if you're spending all your time just getting your Spotify plays up, one day Spotify's gone, you've wasted your life like I wasted mine.
What have I become?
Focus instead on honing your craft, writing your songs, performing your songs, traveling into new places to connect with a live audience. Try and give them something physical that they can take away as a keepsake. Create true, real connections through the joy of art. It has nothing to do with data, it has nothing to do with numbers, and you will be remembered more than a guy who paid a lot of money on marketing and still can't play a gig live. And that's not to say that you have to play gigs live. It's not to say that you even have to release music. It's just it's not just, it's unjust. But understand why the data can make you feel disappointed, can make you feel worthless. Because right now, I don't want to share my Spotify rap because I'm embarrassed with numbers. I don't want to tell everyone how much money my band's made in total last year, but I'm gonna. I don't want to tell the public, but I'm going to tell the Patreons and the YouTube members, the people who actually support what I do. So if you're a YouTube member or you call that radio Patreon, then by the time that you see this, there'll already be a video on those platforms where I'll actually lay out how much Spotify has paid both my bands and all the other digital platforms, all your Apple Musics and your Deezers and all the rest of them, how much they actually pay. And that's for you, that's for the Patrons. If you're nosy, if you're being a nosy bastard and you want to know, just sign up to the Patreon and you'll find out exactly how much we made last year. Also, because I'm a total hypocrite, I'm going to leave in the info here links to both the Gyro Babies and Jackal Trades Spotify, because it's quite a good app. I'm also going to leave a link to the best new music to the playlist. So what do you think? Is Spotify a giant con? Will Spotify last forever? Can physical merch make a glorious comeback? Please leave a comment below. I will respond to every single comment I get, whether I like it or not. This has been You Call That Radio, live from Mexico, We make podcasts, we do live sessions, we do interviews, we do a Club Anywhere every Wednesday night on this very channel here. And yeah, there's a link tree to all the various platforms we're on. If you enjoyed it, yeah, subscribe and that. Bye!